So good evening, everyone, and welcome to this Township of West Lincoln Council meeting this evening. Today is Monday, April 28th, and this is the 7th meeting of 2025 of our council. Councillor Riley is actually working on the election this evening, so he sends his regrets for this meeting. If you are able, please stand for the singing of O Canada. If you picked up an agenda, it says Cairn Christian School, but it's actually Caser Central School this evening. Thank you. As a former educator, it always makes me wonder how many takes that took to get it to that point even. Getting kids to be able to do something like that is not always easy. In any case, prior to commencing the council meeting this evening, I'd like to provide the following announcements. So the public may submit comments for matters that are on this agenda or any agenda to jpaylove@westlincoln.ca before 4:30 on the day of the meeting. Comments submitted will be considered as public information and will be read into the public record. And number two, this meeting is being live streamed as well as recorded and will be available on the Township's website. We'll begin with the land acknowledgement statement. The Township of West Lincoln, being part of Niagara Region, is situated on treaty land. This land is steeped in the rich history of the First Nations, such as the Hattaway-Wendourong, the Haudenosaunee, and the Anishinaabe, including the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. There are many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit from across Turtle Island that live and work in Niagara today. The Township of West Lincoln, as part of the regional municipality of Niagara, stands with all Indigenous people, past and present, in promoting the wise stewardship of the lands on which we live. And Councillor Trombetta, you have the opening petition this evening.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We meet to serve our community, to use our resources wisely and well, to represent all members of our community fairly, to make decisions that promote the common good. We recognize our responsibilities to the past and the future, and the rights and needs of both individuals and community. As trusted servants, may we act wisely and well.
Thank you, Councillor. Are there any changes in order of the items on the agenda this evening? And seeing none, are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest and/or conflict of interest? Okay, nothing there either. So on our agenda is always a section called Request to Address Items on the Agenda, and I'm going to make note of that so that if somebody in the future sees this video and wants to come before council, they're able to do so. So requests to address items on the agenda are restricted to specific items as follows per section 6.7 of the procedural bylaw. And under 6.7, it says to the public, there shall be no comments from the public permitted at council unless A, a specific appointment has been scheduled, or B, an item is included under the other business or communications or appointment sections of the agenda and relates to a matter which would normally be dealt with at committee. So are there any members of the public present who wish to address a specific item on the agenda as permitted by section 6.7 of the procedural bylaw? And Kevin, is there anyone online?
Not seeing any, Madam Mayor.
Thank you very much. But we do have an appointment this evening, and so Community Living of Grimsby, Lincoln, and West Lincoln requested to come before council to provide information about some of their ongoing work. And so, Kathy, would you like to come forward? There's a presenter's seat right there where you have a microphone. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam Mayor, and everyone for having us. We very much appreciate having the opportunity to present. So I'm Kathy Turner. I'm the Executive Director at Community Living Grimsby, Lincoln, and West Lincoln. And I just wanted to raise awareness and talk about some of the changes that are happening in the developmental sector that I would just like to have people know about, and continued advocacy and support in movement towards some of those changes. So I just want to raise just a few things. So the ministry currently, and I'm not sure if everyone is aware of this, but the ministry currently is moving through a reform called Journey to Belonging, and it is a sector reform that is the intention is to move toward individualized funding for individuals who live with developmental disabilities, which on the face of it is lovely and wonderful, and that's what we want to see. We are just as a sector a little bit nervous and concerned about what the future of quality will look like and so on and so forth. So I just wanted to make sure that because this will impact funding and agencies and the individuals that we support, that it is on everyone's radar that some major changes are coming down the pipe. They have been underway for about 3 years and will continue in the outside of that reform is intended to be in 2031. So we're moving toward that, and we're hoping to ensure that the people that we support, their families, and our staff members are aware and ready for whatever the change might be. The problem is that the ministry at this point, they're not really quite sure what that will look like at the very end of the day, but we're working with them. But I just want to make sure that we're all aware, since we serve quite a number of individuals in our catchment. I also wanted to raise another campaign that Community Living Ontario is, and Oasis, which is the two sort of overarching advocacy groups that oversee developmental services, is launching, and that's called #WaitingToBelong. And that is intended to ensure that people are aware that while we serve in Ontario roughly 32,000, I believe, individuals, or 35,000 individuals who live with developmental disabilities, there continue to be 52,000 people on the wait lists. And so really important that these two things go hand in hand, because Journey to Belonging is intending to move toward individualized funding, and we want to make sure that those 52,000 people who are still sitting on wait lists, and therefore we can't really just sort of weigh up what their need will be and what their future service will be, because they currently are not getting any. We want to make sure that those folks are included in the Journey to Belonging and what will change for the future. One of the things that I wanted to make sure that I comment today about is lifespan comments, and that is that while developmental services as a whole is supported well through the ministry, not enough. The funding that has come from the ministry has not at all kept pace with inflation. However, we do appreciate the support that individuals who live with developmental disabilities are receiving. What I do want to say is that sometimes they're seen in sort of as a sector of their, on their own, and not considered throughout the entire lifespan. So, for example, children's education issues, we should be at the table. Healthcare issues, we should be at the table. As people age, we should be at the table. So that, because sometimes some of the services that are provided to individuals who live with developmental disabilities stop at certain ages, and that's just not the case. Individuals who live with developmental disabilities have a full lifespan just like everyone else, from birth to death, and we just want to make sure that we advocate always that all throughout all of those life-changing transitional ages, that developmental services is also at the table. And one of the other things that I wanted to make sure that I raise on behalf of the individuals who live with developmental disabilities in our area and in the entire sector is that, of course, they are supported by ODSP, and other disability benefits, Canada Disability Benefit, et cetera. But what I wanted to ensure that we make everyone aware of is it's not enough for people to live outside of the poverty line. Individuals who, for example, that we know of, when they receive their ODSP check, there is $149 left each month for them to do what they want to do with. And just to note that other bills that an individual may have might be higher when they live with developmental disabilities. For example, pharmacy care. So I'm just going to give you one example of one individual who is supported through our agency, whose pharmacy bill can be around $300 a month. And so if she's left with $149 a month to pay for all of her own bills, you can understand why that's just not going to work out. And so our agency therefore provides a bursary, but that's still only a bursary that supports part of it, because we don't have the funding to be able to cover everybody's pharmacy bills. So we need to be also fair and equitable. So just to raise awareness and make sure that we always stay on the forefront of discussions that the funding for disability services is not enough, and hopefully we have support from our local politicians and councillors and mayors. So I just wanted to leave you with the fact that we at Community Living Grimsby, Lincoln, West Lincoln specifically, we have 200 employees, so we are actually a good contributor to the labor market. We serve 360 people, and through those 360 people and the staff that we have, we touch the lives of thousands of people. And so I just want to make sure that that our efforts and what we do are at the forefront of everyone's mind and are maybe being considered as we are approaching these changes, that we're invited to tables to have discussions and ensure that our needs are at least being able to be verbalized.
Thank you, Kathy.
And that's everything I wanted to say.
Great information. Are there any questions of our presenter? Councilor Maychak?
Just a quick comment. First of all, thank you. I worked with Special Olympics for like 10 years, and I saw the tremendous work your organization does, so I just wanted to commend you. And we have a group home in our neighborhood, and they certainly add value to the people that live there, and they're a pleasure to be around.
Wonderful
So,
people. Thank you very much for saying that.
Anything further from anyone? Councilor Chichon.
With today being that special day where people are saying a lot of things that they're going to do if they win, I'm wondering, is there any projects that you, as Community Living, have that are shovel-ready? Because I would expect that if whoever forms a government after today, they would be looking for delivering something on their comments of making available housing for all in special needs. So I just wondered if you had thought that through, because I'm hearing that they're looking for shovel-ready projects.
So we don't have a shovel-ready project, but we do have a very large project coming down the pipe, which we have had approval at in the Grimsby area. Mm-hmm. So we are Grimsby, Lincoln, and West Lincoln. Right. So we have one physical location that is currently providing supports and office space.
Okay.
So we're going to take that building down and build a 4-level with 5 apartments available for individuals who need subsidized housing, and we will have some other program space and other office space in that building. So it's right in the heart of Grimsby. We do also have, we're currently building a new strat plan. And so our strat plan will have housing as one of the major priorities. It was on our last strat plan as well, but in the last strat plan, our goal was learning more about housing and what we can do. And so we've met a number of people, and we're trying to make connections with developers and things like that. What we're hoping to do is, and I've met a number of councillors in the 3 regions that we serve, and have been told to do things like this, and also to, made some nice connections with housing, with individuals who can help us with housing. Transportation also remains a difficult thing for us because there is no public transportation, and while we're funded the same way as most other agencies like ours, we have to put a significant number of dollars into transportation, because we need to own vehicles for each of the locations and the group homes that we have in our area. So we have 35 vehicles on our fleet, and that's not the same in St. Catharines or in Hamilton or other areas that have public transportation. So while housing is a very, very important piece, so too is transportation.
Connectivity.
It's on our mind at all the time.
Thank you.
Okay, anything to add? Councillor Bradrick.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you very much for your presentation, and your agency does wonderful work. You know, our community is only as good as and as well as our most vulnerable part of our population. And when you see, you know, the group home like Councillor Maychuk has in his neighborhood, and how an intricate part of the community those individuals are, and how much value they add, you know, and how they're embraced by our community is such a welcome sight. I love the words hearing about you being at the table. And I wondered if you had the opportunity to, and your organization, to fill out the survey or for our recreation master plan.
I have not. I don't know that I saw it. I don't know
Okay.
that it came by me.
So I'm gonna, if through you, Mayor, to the CAO to ask if that's still available.
Yes,
Go ahead, sir.
I believe there we go. I believe the draft is still under development. I'm not sure, I think in June I heard we're going back out for further consultation, but I'll pass that over to Director Borama and we can get connected to that.
Very good. Okay, thank you very much.
I think that's a really good point, Councillor, that, you know, you need to be connected to that, for sure. So I understand it's also an anniversary for your
That's
organization.
correct, yes.
We really missed having the store in town, you know. I think that West Lincoln felt much more connected to the organization as a whole when it was right on our main street and we had the lovely little store. But of course, I know that since that retirement that hasn't happened anymore. But we do miss it. And so if ever again there's an opportunity to do that kind of thing, I think one of the joys of that actually was seeing how proud those who were involved in creating some of those, the crafts and the handwork and that and the little party favors and all of those holiday things, people were happy to buy those and they were so pleased to be sort of part of that and to learn about dealing with the money and so on too. So we missed that opportunity. Just a plug, just so that as you're planning and you're doing your new strat plan, if there are any small ways, maybe not to that extent, but small ways that we can actually have some involvement with the organization, where our residents have an opportunity to, in their face, support the ongoing work. I think that's good. But we do have a small certificate, just because we know it's the 60th anniversary.
Oh, wonderful.
We do these things.
Congratulations so much. Thank you very much. We're really very interested. And thank you very much for your time.
So 60 years of supporting people, that's amazing. Thank you. Okay, so that takes us in, Councillor Witteveen, to item number 8, which is, we have a resolution, sorry. Councillor Maychak, sorry, I moved on by.
It's okay. Through you, Madam Mayor, moved by myself that council recognizes the work being done by Community Living, Grimsby, Lincoln, and West Lincoln, and support the organization through the changes to the developmental sector.
And someone to second that, please. Councillor Bradrick, thank you. And do you have that on the screen, Mr. Clerk? Okay. So that should be on your screen soon. And we did put that in the form of a resolution, which I almost forgot about, Kathy, just to keep it on our radar as part of the minutes. And then as we look forward to more involvement and more information that you might provide back to us, that will be great. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and that resolution carries. So now, Councillor Witteveen is in position and ready for his remarks this evening. Thanks, Albert.
Okay. Well, good evening, Mayor, members of council, staff, and the public. I'd like to start this evening with a couple of updates on the waste management file. We received a report last month reporting from the 2024 year on illegal dumping. This is usually of interest for the community and through the Niagara region. So in total, there were 1,027 incidents of illegal dumping were investigated. 32 were reported by local municipal staff. 720 were reported via the Waste Info hotline, and 275 were identified through proactive monitoring by staff. So a large percentage of these issues were in public spaces, and curbside receptacles where household garbage was disposed at or on these locations. So what's interesting for us is, so in West Lincoln, we had a total of 20 reports in 2024. So I did not have the information to know whether this had increased or decreased from last year. So that was the total amount through the region. So most of our reports came from illegal dumpings on our rural roads, as most of us understand that's where the challenges are. So since the new year, the provincial government has decided with producer responsibility program, they will no longer be collecting these non-eligible sources. And this means that they are not part of our residential collection and will have and will not have their material collected. And this is, staff have been lobbying, continue this program to service BIAs in downtown. So there's still much dissatisfaction moving forward, and I attended a waste management meeting this morning, and the lobbying continues as this will be implemented in the end of this year. So the mayors and regional councillors of Ontario are that will be on our regional chair's agenda to continue to lobby for this, and staff are working with our mayors on looking at alternatives and providing this service in our downtown communities. It's kind of frustrating because people that live above stores will have their material picked up, but the store, the actual commercial will not. So this is where some of the challenges are, and it feels like it's another level of download, and I think there's a common dissentment throughout the province on this reduction of service for the businesses that contribute to the tax base. So it's a work in progress, and I will keep the council updated on that. And on our public health file, we received an update on our physician recruitment, and this is a good news story. The state of our primary care in Niagara welcomed 26 new physicians in 2024, making it a record year for recruitment, and 7 more have started at the beginning of this year. So there are actually 31 new physicians in Niagara accepting patients, and the highest a number at one time. So you can direct people to the Niagara Region's Find a Doctor page, and so that they could find a family doctor. And so as our population grows, the team continues to work on this demand. So going forward, again, new challenges. 14% of our current physicians are over 65, so we're trying to fill new positions, and we're also through attrition trying to fill those positions that are being retired. But the province is looking and listening and expanding of medical schools seats to strengthen the partnerships with municipalities, clinics, and post-secondary institutes. Great success has been achieved through international recruitment efforts, where 60% of new physicians have been recruited from the UK, which I guess is good for us and not good for them. And so we have that team continuing to work at all fronts to make sure our residents have access to primary care in this obviously competitive atmosphere. So on some local events, I had the opportunity to attend Niagara Christian Gleaners annual fundraiser last month, and my understanding is it's been their most successful event so far, and I attended the Niagara Regional Chair's annual State of the Regional Address, where it was exciting to see our chamber show West Lincoln's video to the whole group and showcase our businesses in that setting. So that was pretty exciting, and also, you know, there was I guess the talk was you know, the concern of uncertainty of businesses here in Niagara dealing with our counterparts in the States through the concerns of tariffs. So there's been a good collaboration with working with chambers and with chambers as our U.S. partners, so to try to figure out how to make the transition and keep our relationship working. So, and then, I had an opportunity to attend a Lifetime Achievement Award a couple weeks, 2-3 weeks ago, from one of our residents, John Sickens, and he was recognized for his many years of volunteerism in the community as well as agriculture. So, so that is my report. If any councillors have any questions, I'll be gladly to answer them.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Whitting. Any questions on this report? Councillor Rayner?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through you to the regional councillor. Did you say there was 1,000 violations in the region with regards to dumping and 20 in the township of West Lincoln? Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, next question is, of those 20 in the township of West Lincoln, I gather they were investigated because the region likes to try to trace it. How many did they find responsible for it?
Well, that was not given in the report, but I could follow up and let you know.
Okay, because that to me would be the good thing about it. Okay, we've got 20. Now, how many actually got caught? Because sometimes they leave prescription bottles or they leave an envelope with their address in it or something. And I know the region at times likes to investigate to see if they can find the source. So that's why I kind of asked the question. But I appreciate it maybe next month if you can get back. Hopefully they caught somebody.
Well, through you, Madam Mayor, to Councillor Rayner, it would depend on whether it was through the hotline where the region came out and investigated, or our municipality reported it and picked it up and disposed of it.
Right.
And that's probably how it would be investigated differently. But I will get that information for you to see whether any, I guess, convictions were made in our community on that.
Through you, Madam Chair, I know through experience with this that sometimes the township will make a judgment call, and they'll look at it and say, this is a fair size, I want the region involved with it. And other times they will just, because it's kind of just a few bags, they'll just pick it up on their routine. So they do make a call. I do believe I've seen it, experienced it in the past, where this township will make a call if they think the region should get involved, and then they do an investigation apparently.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Trombetta.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just, I don't know, this can either go to yourself or Regional Councillor Whitby. Has there been any talks with the police department? Obviously, we've been getting a lot of calls due to the crime that's been happening. Obviously, the Harmony Jewelry is down in Grimsby once again, the third time. Has there been any conversation on extra policing through any regional meetings that you guys have had lately? Obviously, the budget was increased for policing, and it seems that we're not getting the rightful services that we would like to see, especially what's happened in Grimsby this past week with a lot of, obviously making social media, because it's been the third time since January, and other people have been, well, the other thing about the woman being broken into as well, and people are feeling a little uncertain in these times. So has there been any talks? I know we have the police coming relatively soon here, but is there any talks at regional council level on how they're gonna?
There was a great deal of conversation that way regarding even their budget in terms of that. So, of course, even when they're taking on, Councillor Whitby can speak to this as well, but even when they agree that they're taking on more frontline officers, those people have to go yet through the training. So, you know, it's a period of time before they actually are active in the community. In terms of what's going on, I know that the police have been extremely busy dealing with the Grimsby situation. And we are not, after all, I will just put it in now, having them come to our June meeting. They are just too busy to be able to do that. So they are now coming in August, even though it's a summer meeting. That was the next time that we actually could arrange to have them between holidays and one thing and another. So they're on our radar. They know that we're looking. They are very, very busy trying to deal with what they're dealing. And of course, what happens with the whole police force is when something like that happens in Grimsby, they're able to draw in extra officers. Councillor Whittabine, I don't know whether you want to add anything further.
Madam Mayor, to Councillor Trombetta, a lot of, I've seen the patrols, I've seen the presence of police in our community, because that would be my first indication. The conversation, no, but I look for a police presence. I see them as I pull out of my driveway. I see them in town. I see the presence. I believe that our concern is usually, automobile theft. We know that. I see that on the social media where somebody's pickup truck will be taken. But I do believe that they're trying to create that presence in our community, and it's just a matter of myself and the mayor to talk to the staff sergeant and do we have problems? So I think the police are focusing on the problem areas, and if we don't have lots of problems in our area, they're going to give us service, but they're not going to give us the we'll say the heightened service because they're using those resources elsewhere.
Okay. Well, thank you for both that update, both of you. Thank you.
Certainly an awareness of the need. Absolutely. Anything further from anyone else? Okay. Oh, Councillor Maychak, go ahead.
I'm always curious, great to hear that we got 31 new physicians in the region. Do you know how many did retire? You referenced 65 average age, a lot of attrition. Did we lose quite a few doctors in this previous year, if you happen to know?
No, I don't know the total number of doctors that we have in the region. It was a report that was given. I didn't write that down, and I don't think that question was asked, Councillor Maychak. But it just shows that they're retiring, and the needs are great. So it's I remember many years sitting around this table, we were having the same discussion of how to bring family doctors to our community. So, but I can look into that for you, give you I'm sure I can find out how many primary doctors are practicing in Niagara, and then we can do the math on the 15%. And I'm sure they're not retiring all at once, hopefully. And,
no, I do believe, for both of you, that was the net increase, though. So no matter how many were down, we're up that many more. So, they've been working very, very hard at trying to recruit, and they've been very successful with it. The site that was referenced, by the way, if anybody asks, is really just the Niagara region, and it's called Find a Doctor. And if you go on that site, it will tell you where. Now, there's nobody currently, at least there wasn't the last time I looked, which was about 2 weeks ago, nobody new in West Lincoln, but certainly they are taking from new patients from throughout the region. So if you don't have a doctor at all and you have to go to Lincoln or to Grimsby, that's better than not having a doctor, right? But I think that was the overall increase, was my understanding anyway, so, okay.
And through you, Madam Mayor, to Councillor Maychak, just so you understand that communities that are say, well-funded are offering greater incentives for those primary practitioners, and so that becomes a challenge for the smaller communities to find a primary doctor when other communities are kind of bidding for them, and so that's why there's a team working on behalf of all the region, looking at all those pieces and making sure that there's a balance in our community. But I will find out the total number for you and get back to you on that.
Okay, thank you. So the next item on our agenda is the confirmation of minutes from the council of March 24th. And Councillor Maychak, you have that resolution, please.
Moved by myself that the minutes relating to the March 24th, 2025 council meeting and the recommendations contained therein be accepted, and that the confidential minutes relating to the closed session portion of the March 24th, 2025 council meeting be accepted, and that the minutes remain confidential and restricted from public disclosure in accordance with the exemptions provided in Section 239 of the Municipal Act.
Thank you, Councillor. Someone like to second that? Councillor Chichok, thank you. Are there any questions or any errors found regarding the open session minutes? Okay, seeing none, then, Mr. Clerk, we're ready, I think. That vote should be in front of you. And that carries. Thank you. 9.2 is a public meeting under the Planning Act, the public meeting minutes from April 14th. And Councillor Chichak, you have those, please?
I do, Madam Mayor. Thank you for that. Moved by myself that the minutes relating to the April 14th, 2025 public meetings will be accepted.
Okay, and someone to second those minutes? Councillor Rayner, thank you. All right, are there any questions about the public meeting minutes? Okay, and so I guess that vote's ready too, seeing none. So that also is in front of you. And that also carries. So there are no communications this evening, and so that takes us to number 11, which are my remarks. So I will start because it has been a little bit busy. On the last day of our council meeting, Director of Community and Protective Services Cynthia Summers and I attended a morning session at Niagara Regional Police Headquarters to take part in an information session regarding body cameras. This was one of many public information opportunities provided by the NRPS to educate members of the public, senior staff members, and members of various councils throughout the region regarding their thorough investigation of the potential use of such cameras. It was both an opportunity to learn about the use of body cameras and to be able to ask questions. As a follow-up, I saw just this week in the St. Catharines Standard that the NRPS, after a wide public consultation process, has in fact made the final decision to begin to outfit their membership with body cameras. I do believe there's still a question about costs, but that's an add-on to this report. On April 3rd, I was honored to take part, along with MPP Osterhoff, in a roundtable discussion which included the Niagara Keystone Award winners. This luncheon event held at Standpack was a closed session led by Keystone Awards founder Dean French. I'm very proud of the fact that among the 10 named 2025 Keystone Award winners honored for their job creation efforts, 2 of those 10 were West Lincoln companies, Standpack and Big Country Raw. I was pleased on April 4th to be able to host MPP Sam Osterhoff to discuss West Lincoln's main priorities. Now that the provincial election is over, Sam spent time visiting each of the mayors in his riding to gain knowledge of the priorities of each municipality so that he is prepared to be able to offer his support during the next term of office. April 11th saw these council chambers filled with just over 80 older adults who attended the West Lincoln Age-Friendly Advisory Committee's education event. The Financial Crimes Against Seniors presentation by 3 members of the NRPS who are tasked with dealing with fraud or scams occurring in Niagara was extremely well received by our residents. Word has spread of its value to seniors and additionally the overall success of the event, and as a result, plans are being formulated for this to be replicated in some of our neighboring Niagara municipalities. Additionally, this past month, the Age-Friendly Advisory Committee has produced a brochure that is being circulated throughout the community. It includes a quick and easy-to-read information guide to services and emergency numbers that might prove useful for older adults. I will say that some are in the lobby, so if you feel that there's somebody that you know that should have access to that information, please feel free to take some. Also on April 11th, CAO McBride and his wife Jen and John and I attended the annual West Lincoln Fire Department dinner and awards celebration that was held at the Caister Community Centre, better known to most of us as the Abingdon Hall. The CAO and I were pleased to be able to say a few words thanking the firefighters for their dedication to serving our municipality, welcome the many new recruits on the department, and additionally acknowledge that event as being the last for Fire Chief Dennis Fisher and thank him for his service. On Saturday, April 12th, John and I, along with Regional Councillor Witteveen, he's already mentioned this, and Councillor Chichok, attended the Niagara Lifetime Achievement Agricultural Awards, where West Lincoln resident John Sickens was honoured for his ongoing support of agriculture. And certainly, John's a well-known volunteer in our area. Friday, April 18th, I was happy to attend the Easter Fest activities provided by our recreation staff. There were hundreds of families, grandparents, parents, and children of varying ages, all out to enjoy the early spring day and the activities that were provided. Thank you to all staff involved in organizing this Good Friday morning event, and also thank you to the West Lincoln firefighters who were also on hand to the delight of residents of all ages. At our community center, also was provided a site for the federal election advance polls over the Easter weekend. It was great to see so many residents taking advantage of that opportunity. Once again, I thank our staff, in particular our clerk, for facilitating the use of our community center for both the advance polls and election day voting to occur. Many residents were extremely disappointed, and that I use that word lightly, some were very angry, that they did not have the opportunity to vote in West Lincoln during the recent provincial election. And so the advance polls, as you might remember, were held everywhere around us but here. So the comments that I received this time were all extremely favorable regarding this change. On April 16th, CAO Trooper and I attended Lincoln Mayor Sandra Easton's State of the Town address. It's always interesting to hear what Mayor Easton has to say, as they and Lincoln are about 15 to 20 years ahead of West Lincoln in terms of their residential, commercial, and industrial growth. These annual breakfast/luncheon engagements in each municipality provide excellent networking opportunities for all who are present. Although Earth Day was officially April 22nd, it was not until Saturday, April 26th, that the members of the Mayor's Youth Advisory Committee, or MIAC as they are called, gave up their Saturday morning to join Executive Assistant Jackie Thrower and myself to clean up all of the park areas surrounding our community center. Their hard work, amounting to about 8 large-sized black garbage bags, was rewarded with lunch in the community center. Sunday, April 27th, marked the start of preparing cookies for the Smile Cookie campaign at our local Tim Hortons. I spent 3 hours yesterday decorating cookies, as once again this year, the profit from the Smile Cookie campaign goes to our very own West Lincoln Community Care. Last year, just over $25,000 was donated back to our local charity. So I encourage you to buy lots of Smile Cookies, eat lots of Smile Cookies, and if you have some time to help decorate, reach out to West Lincoln Community Care to volunteer to help out. I believe there are some time slots still available. The actual campaign started this morning at 6 a.m. and runs until end of day on Sunday, May 4th. And if you haven't already heard, there are cookies in the box, so help yourself today. And finally, just as a reminder that our flags were flown at half-mast today to recognize and honor those who have been seriously injured or who have lost their lives in workplace accidents. April 28th of each year is recognized as being Canada's National Day of Mourning. On this day, we not only remember workers who have died, were injured, or became ill from their job, but we across our nation are tasked with renewing our commitment to protecting workers and preventing further workplace tragedies. And I will just mention that a reminder was actually on social media. Adam Cunin was one local young fellow who did lose his life in a workplace accident in West Lincoln. So always mindful of the fact that some of our families are affected as well. And that is the end of my remarks. Okay. So under reports of committee, we have growth and sustainability, the minutes from April 14th, and Councillor Chichok, you have those.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Moved by myself that the minutes relating to the April 14th, 2025 Growth and Sustainability meeting and the recommendations contained therein be accepted, and that the confidential minutes relating to the closed session portion of the April 14th, 2025 Growth and Sustainability Committee meeting be accepted, and that the minutes remain confidential and restricted from public disclosure in accordance with the exemptions provided in Section 239 of the Municipal Act.
Okay, thank you. So once again, I'm going to ask if there were any errors or if there are any questions about the open session portion of the minutes. Okay, and seeing none, I need someone to second that resolution, please. Councillor Bradrick, thank you. And Mr. Clerk? And that also carries. 12.2 are the Corporate Services Committee minutes, and Councillor Bradrick, you have those, please.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I move by myself that the minutes relating to the April 22nd, 2025 Corporate Service Committee meeting and the recommendations contained therein be accepted, And 2, that the confidential minutes relating to the closed session portion of the April 22nd, 2025 Corporate Services Committee meeting be accepted, and the minutes remain confidential and restricted from public disclosure in accordance with exemptions provided in Section 239 of the Municipal Act.
Thank you. And a seconder for those minutes, please? Councillor Chichok. Are there any questions or comments about the open session minutes? Okay. Okay. That vote should be in front of you. Thank you. And that takes us to 12.3, which are the minutes of the Operations Committee. And Councillor Trombetta, you have those.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Moved by myself that the minutes relating to the April 14th, 2025 Operations Committee meeting and the recommendations contained therein be accepted.
Thank you. And someone to second those. Councillor Bradrick, thank you. Any questions about the Operations Committee meeting? Okay, seeing none. That vote also should be in front of you. And that also carries. So there is nothing to be reconsidered this evening, and there is no notice of motion to rescind. And that will take us then to 15 other business. So I'm going to start, I guess we'll start on your side. Councillor Rayner, anything this evening?
Just on Friday, attended Dennis Fisher, the fire chief's retirement. Apparently, he's leaving. Very next day, he's heading to Kingston, so...
I think he's gone.
Yeah, so I mean, boy, when he leaves, he leaves. Anyways, yeah, Dennis has been here for a long, long time, has contributed a lot over the years, and he's left his mark, so I wish him the best. And he's going down, I said, you going down to Thousand Islands? He said, I'm not going to do that. So he's doing something down there, but he's gone.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Chichok.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It may sound repetitive, but having to speak after you and Councillor Woodavine, but having John Sickens as a resident in the ward that Councillor Bradrick and I represent, and having him so involved in both agriculture in our community, as well as the many volunteerisms that he does, whether it's the Ag Society or the education of young people or anything else that needs a hand. Mr. Sickens has always been a quiet voice and a responsible person that you could call on to help with any event. I have attended many pork dinners where and gone home with some pork products on a tray.
Mm-hmm. So have I.
Yes, as a result of his pulling events together. So I do want to congratulate he and his wife Ingrid on the years that they have dedicated to the community as well as to the agricultural community. We're very proud of having him in Ward 2. Sorry. Pardon me. As far as the cookies, I thank you very much. I'll pass on them. We have 24 sitting on the counter at home, and I do encourage everyone. I've had at least one since they arrived home, and they're very good this year. So that would be something I'd encourage everyone to do.
No Kiwanis update?
Well, I could, but I didn't want to brag. Actually, the bottle drives that Kiwanis did on behalf of Earth Day and the community resulted in a trailer full of bottles, cans, and plastic containers that contained alcohol being collected on Saturday with a total surpassing our expectations, with over $1,000 collected, and those bottles, containers, etc., were returned to the depot today. So I can tell you,
Good.
I took a shower so I wouldn't smell like a leftover of wine and various other beverages before I came. Very good day, wonderful, wonderful. Thanks to all of the community, to the garage, Smithville Garage, for being so supportive of the efforts of Kiwanis, who return all of that money to the community we serve. So West Lincoln benefits one way or the other for what it is that we collect and pardon me, on any of the events that we do. So a really good fun day and a really good achievement for West Lincoln again.
Thank you. See, I left you something. Councillor Trombetta.
A couple of things, just touch on what Councillor Rayner said. Chief Fisher, he will be missed. He did serve his time here for a long time, but also to welcome new chief, Tiff Hofsing. I've seen an article was in the Spectator as well that actually just made, so that's good. Also, the Pope did pass, so that was another thing that for all the Catholics out there, I was asked the question how many cardinals there were by Councillor Rayner, and I didn't know, but there's 252 cardinals that are going to be voting and electing a new pope.
I didn't know that number either.
I didn't know that, so they'll be electing a new pope.
What's the rules?
I don't want to get into, there's probably a list of rules, but I don't know, but they're going to be electing a new pope, so that's next for all the Catholics in our community, for that, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Bradrick?
Just one comment, Madam Mayor, that now that the snow has finally melted and residents are seeing some debris on the sides of the road and reporting it to my fellow colleagues around the Horseshoe, there is a report the concern option on our website, so makes it a lot easier for staff to track if there's any issues in regarding to potholes or debris. Please put that through that reported concern portion of our website.
Thank you. Councillor Maychak?
Through you, Madam Mayor, you mentioned earlier the tremendous volunteers at the Community Care Center, and Councillor Witteveen also talked about the volunteers at Gleaners. This week marks National Volunteer Week. So I just want to thank those organizations, but I want to take a moment to thank all volunteers, especially here in West Lincoln, that do so much for the community. So if you happen to run across a volunteer this week, shake their hand, say thank you, and show some appreciation. That's the purpose of this week.
Thank you. Good reminder. Mr. Clark, anything from you tonight? Mr. CEO, anything from you tonight?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The only item I have is the appointment of additional acting deputy chiefs, as council's just noted. Mr. Dennis Fisher has retired and moved on. He's having a much better time now up north. And our new chief has now been installed, and there's a corresponding bylaw on this agenda for you. It has been noted by the Fire Marshal's office that best practice is to appoint the acting deputy chiefs through resolution. So we do have that for you this evening, with two of our senior captains being temporarily promoted into the acting chief role until the competitive recruitment is completed.
Okay, thank you. And Councillor Trombetta, you have a resolution regarding that. So
It's
thank you.
just one question. Is there, through you, Madam Mayor, to the CEO, is there a deputy chief going into the role of Mr. Hofsink at this moment, or not yet?
Go ahead, sir.
Through you, Madam Mayor, that is going out for competitive recruitment. These are two acting volunteers going into the role
That's what the
temporarily.
motion is, sorry.
So the
Okay.
motion is about putting the captains in the acting position on a rotational basis,
Yeah.
so one covers for the other, and until the time that,
And I heard
We're
Councillor
ready
Rain,
for
I was a little ahead of myself. I should have went the motion first, then questions, but he is right, so my
Right.
mistake.
So go ahead, read the motion.
My mistake, first time, but Councillor
No.
Rayner is,
no, you could ask that question.
so.
Go ahead.
Anyways, moved by myself, whereas the Ontario Fire Marshal's Office, OFM, has suggested that it would be best practice to have a resolution of council to officially name, appoint of an acting deputy fire chief. And whereas there are no financial impacts to this action, as only one person at the time can be the acting deputy fire chief, and that the other would carry on in their role as captains. Now, therefore, it be resolved that Senior Captain Wayne Boss and Zoli Rakunjak, hopefully that's correct, please correct me if it's not, be appointed as acting deputy fire chiefs, who shall all of the powers and duties may be prescribed of the deputy fire chief until such time that a full-time deputy fire chief is appointed.
And someone to second that, please. Councillor Rayner. Okay, now, so you did ask your question, which was fair enough, because you had to read the resolution.
Correct.
Any further questions?
No.
Anyone else with any questions? Councillor Rayner.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through to the CAO, we had a acting deputy fire chief, which was Tim, before he got promoted, correct? But he was only one guy. How come we got two?
Go ahead, Councillor.
You three, Madam Mayor, these are both volunteer positions. So the role itself is a full-time role. Neither one of these two individuals are able to serve in the full-time capacity, so they're both being appointed, and so they will fill that position as availability allows.
So they'll switch off, but never two at the same time?
Correct.
Exactly.
Fine, thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right. Anything further before we vote? Okay. The vote will be in front of you then. Okay, and that also carries. So there are no new items of business that I am aware of. Is there anyone who has an item that they cared to bring up? Okay, and there are no confidential this evening, no matter to be discussed, and so therefore no disclosure, which takes us to bylaws. And Councillor Broderick, you have the bylaws.
Yes, I do. Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. Moved by myself. 1, that leave be granted to introduce bylaws 2025-15, 2025-16, 2025-17, 2025-18, 2025-19, 2025-20, 2025-21, 2025-22, 2025-23, 2025-24, 2025-25, 2025-26, 2027, and 2025-28, and that the same shall be considered to have been read a first, second, and third time with one reading and are hereby adopted. And 2, that the mayor and clerk be and are hereby authorized to sign and affix the corporate seal thereto, any rule of this council to the contrary notwithstanding.
Thank you. Aren't you glad we don't have to read the whole bylaws anymore? So the one that you had to stumble over a little bit was just a typo. So it was 2025-27, and there was a typo there. So it gave you a wee bit of grief, but otherwise, thank you for doing that. Someone to second the bylaws, please. Councillor Maychak. Okay. Any questions about any of the bylaws that are there? Councillor Rayner?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to pull two of them, bylaw 2025-15 and 2025-16.
Okay, so 15 is, and, sorry, the second one, 25, 15, and,
One right below it, 2025-16.
okay, so we will vote on all of the others, and then we'll come back to those. All of the others, yes, thank you. So the vote is for everything except for the two that were pulled. Okay, so all but the two that have been pulled have passed, and now we'll look at the two that have been pulled. Councillor Rayner, did you have a question about these?
Yes, regards to 2025-15, appointment of clerk for the Township of West Lincoln. Justin Paylove has done a phenomenal job in the last little while, and he was kind of dumped into it because of default that things happened during the process in the last little while. But he's done a great job, so I just want to make sure that he wants this, that he's not being forced to do it like he has been for the last year, and that he's pleased to do this before we go ahead and approve it.
Thank you. And do you want to respond to that?
Through to the mayor, Councillor Rayner, I am doing this of my own free will, yes.
Well, that's what I wanted to check, because I know before you were kind of the last one and you're it, and unfortunately there was no backup. So I just want to make sure you're happy, so congratulations. I'm looking forward to seeing you on the Sunshine List next year.
Okay, so do you want to speak to the second one as well, and then we can do those
Okay,
two together?
the second one has really got me thrown a curve. Now, I know we have deputy clerk, but the deputy clerk isn't, to me, is not the deputy clerk. It's the long-written new hyphenated name called Director of Legislative Services. So is this individual, Jessica Dyson, assuming two responsibilities?
So the CAO is going to respond.
Through the CAO.
Thank you, and through you, Mayor Gannon. So the deputy clerk positions exist if the clerk is not present, that we have a substitute underneath the bylaw that can come in and assume that role. So as Ms. Dyson's assumed the role of director, she oversees the entire department. The clerk function resides as per the organizational restructuring at the manager of legislative services role, which is Mr. Paylove's position. But in the event that Mr. Paylove is not here or needs an evening, we have a deputy clerk on hand that is able to take over.
through from the mayor to the CEO. So this is not an increase, a doubling of the increase of the cost of the taxpayer for this. This is just if Justin is not available at this time, it's substituted at that time, but it's not a double paid job because it's got two positions. That's what my question is.
Go ahead, Mr. CEO.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor Gannon, no, there is no additional role that's been created here. Previously, there was a clerk and deputy clerk. These have just been reassigned.
So now we've got a clerk, a deputy clerk, and a director of legislative services? Or did you say legislative services is over clerk and deputy clerk?
Exactly.
Get this straight.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor Gannon, the department is led by the Director of Legal Legislative Services.
Okay.
The deputy clerk function is attached to that role. The manager of legislative services, who oversees the council secretariat function, as it were, is also assuming the clerk function. And neither one of these are new roles. They're just functions reassigned to existing roles.
Okay. The reason I ask this is because we did have a large increase in our budget this year because of additional increases to staffing. I just wanted to make sure that this wasn't another one of them because we've already got hit hard already this year. So it's not. Okay, then I'm fine, Madam Mayor. Thanks for the clarification.
Okay.
Thanks
Any
for the
other
time.
questions about either
No,
of
I
those
have
two
none.
bylaws? Councillor Chichok.
I just want to allay Councillor Rayner's fears. Look at what we're getting. We're getting a twofer because we're talking about beer bottles. We get one person doing two jobs, two titles, no increase. And
I'm not
that's,
complaining.
and the clerk and the deputy clerk will now each have two titles. I'm saying that for the comfort of everybody out in the audience who may not have just followed what we just
Thank you. And
debated.
since we kindly asked Mr. Palov if he was in agreement with that, I will also ask you, Jessica, are you in agreement with that?
Thank you, Mayor Gannan, for allowing me to speak on this topic. Yes, I am very well aware of these changes, and I am looking forward to be able to support my department in any way I can. And with respect to the deputy clerk function, I am happy to continue to support Justin in that role.
Thank you. Okay, so, Mr. Councillor Maychak.
No, I just wanted to commend, as I have in the past, Justin, but I read all the minutes prior to the meeting today. I had quite a bit of free time today. And I just wanted to note, going through them, how well it's captured in terms of accuracy. And I sit on other boards and committees, and sometimes you read them and go, did I say that? But reading through the minutes, I just want to commend him on the accuracy and the thoroughness of his work, and it's reflected in the minutes. So congrats. Well deserved.
Okay, so now put them up.
Through the mayor.
Let's pass the bylaw.
Also, just to address Councillor Maychak, a lot of that is Barb Hutchinson. So her greatness is reflected through me. So I will take the praise for myself in this matter, though. The motion that I have in front of council will be that leave be granted to introduce bylaws 2025-15 and 2025-16, and that the same shall be considered to have been read a first, second, and third time with one reading and are hereby adopted, and that the mayor and clerk be and are hereby authorized to sign and affix the corporate seal thereto, any rule of this council to the contrary notwithstanding, and I can safely assume that Councillor Rayner would love to move these.
And someone to second them? Councillor Maychak, thank you.
I can open the vote.
Okay, and that vote should be in front of you then. And it should be there for everybody to vote. And that worked again, and so that also carries. And so at the hour of 7:33, I declare this meeting adjourned. Thank you.